Welcome to the Land Cave. We're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined here by Owen.
Hello!
We're talking gaming news, nerd news, geek news. There is a difference. I had to explain that to Cassandra the other day. Not your Cassandra, other Cassandra.
Yeah.
She was like, "What nerd news?" I'm like, "There's a difference between nerd stuff and geek stuff."
Yeah, because in my opinion, like, nerds is kind of like more of an all-encompassing, and then as you get into geek, like, one, geek can sometimes have a negative connotation, but I think geek is like a level up. Like, there's like nerd base foundation. If you're a geek on something, though, then,
like,
you know, you get the
like our friend Mark Cerny, who man, okay, so
Did
we're
you
gonna talk
listen to
about
it?
this soon. I did, and I was listening to it while I was doing some work. So I part of my job gets somewhat transactional, where I'm doing some kind of data entry-esque stuff, where I'm, it's like it doesn't really require a lot of thought. So I'm gonna put on something to listen to while I'm working, and I felt like I was gonna go to sleep. Like he's just so soft-spoken. It was interesting, but wow,
it was totally fascinating. Like, he had like somebody. I'm stealing it from somebody
Sure.
who was talking about it on Twitch, but he's like, he had a real Mr. Rogers vibe going on, and I kind of dug it.
Yeah.
And you could totally see that this fit at GDC, which is where that was originally supposed to go. I'm going to criticize it more when we get to it.
Sure. Yeah, we'll definitely get there. It was an interesting week. It's been obviously a tumultuous couple weeks for everyone. We'll try not to get too down in the dumps right now. I've been able to actually relax a little bit and play some Nier, which I've been absolutely loving.
How's that going?
I'm loving it. There are certain parts that irritate me a little bit, but for the most part, I'm really loving the gameplay. The story is interesting in regards to humanity, in regards to what it is to be a human versus an android versus a machine, and at what point do you consider something sentient and living? Those classic sci-fi tropes. For those who don't know, Nier takes place thousands of years in the future, and the characters you're playing are androids who have been made to look like humans because they're trying to get basically rid the Earth of the machines and alien stuff, so that way humans can live on Earth again, which hasn't happened. It's been a ridiculous amount of time, and we still haven't won. But anyways, it's very interesting story, convoluted, but not as convoluted as, say, Metal Gear.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not nearly as that because it doesn't have that many games worth of lore.
Yeah, it's only
Gear does. I bet it could.
Yeah, actually, sorry, 3. There's technically the first Nier is an offshoot of another game, but you don't have to know one. You don't have to have played one to appreciate any of the others. So I'll give you that as a one up. I also got hooked on a mobile game, and I can't believe I got hooked on this mobile golf game. So I've been playing this Golf Clash game, and it's fun.
Is it made by the people who do Clash Royale, or
I don't know.
just because of the word Clash? So.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they were either doing it to to cash in on the Clash of Clans stuff or whatever. But let's see who makes this. It's made by Playdemic.
Okay.
And so anyways, I don't think they've made a ton, but I will say that it's good. It's been good enough to let me play for a while without having to spend money. There's every now and then you hit a wall where it's not that you're hitting a wall because you have a timer. It's like you have to bid every time that you play. So if you suck, like I do sometimes, then sometimes you get to a point where you don't have any more money to bid.
Dang.
Yeah.
You want to know how much money that game has made in 3 years? 2
I have
years?
no idea.
Say it's shot in the dark based on. I know nothing about this game.
I'm gonna say 10.
$225
Jeez.
million.
That's insane. I mean, I had no idea it was big at all. Honestly, I was wanting to play some Mario Golf, so I was just looking for a golf game.
I feel that.
And
I totally feel. I would love some Mario Golf.
That's basically what happened. I was like, Nintendo, if you put some Mario Golf on the game, you could make $220 million, if not more, if you put Mario Golf on my Android phone or on iPhones. Put it on everything.
Just don't do it like the Dr. Mario model, because that game was not good. Do it like you did with Mario Run, where I paid you $10 and I got a giant amount of levels and I was very happy. Just do that. I will happily give you another $10. I'll give you $15 for a mobile Mario Golf game, Nintendo. Just do that. But really, put it on Switch and make it awesome.
Oh yeah. That's honestly what I was like. I was thinking, I'm like, where's the last Mario Golf game? Is it Nintendo 64? I don't think anything came out on Wii. You can double check that. But Mario 64 Golf, I cannot tell you how many evenings I went over when I was in college and just after college. We went over to my lead singer's house or his apartment and would play Mario Golf for hours. It was so good.
We had a GameCube one as well as a Mario Golf World Tour on 3DS.
Okay. Well, so
3DS is the most recent.
3DS is the most recent one. Yeah,
Port it. I don't care.
Literally, we're like grown adults, and Nintendo 64 was an old console at the time, and we were playing some Mario Golf because it's that good of a game.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What you been playing?
So I finished Reverie, which we talked a little bit about last week. It's a Zelda game but it looks like Earthbound. Made in Australia very clearly, just based on everybody's language. Yeah, your sword is a wicket bat. I beat it in 3.5 hours. So if it goes on sale again and you like Zelda clone type things, I've heard some people don't like that term, by the way, Zelda clone. I, for one, as a huge Zelda fan, don't find it offensive, because that's clearly what this game is trying to be. It's fine.
If it's a Zelda clone, it's a Zelda clone. I mean, why you gotta mince words?
Because it takes away from the effort these people put in to make a top down style game. But I'm like, literally, there's so many games that are called Metroidvanias, and like, do you think that that's a insult? No, it's not. It's a saying, like, this is what that is. I don't know what else to say other than Zelda game. Like, Metroidvania is such a cool word; it just rolls off the tongue. But there is no like, it's a Zelda game. No, it's not it's not a Zelda game, because it's not by Nintendo and made under the Legend of Zelda. So Zelda clone is all I got. If somebody wants to come up with a better word, though. Really, though, I don't know if you queued this video or not, but I totally went from never having played this franchise before to pre-ordering it. It's preloaded. I'm ready to play it tomorrow night after my son goes to sleep, but I pre-ordered some Animal Crossing for the first time. I need it, and I
should have queued that up. So you've never played it. I've played a little bit. I didn't get into it, but I could see myself easily sinking time into it. I think Whitney would really enjoy it. So why the sudden change? Not that it was a change of heart, but why the move to Animal Crossing?
So I've told a whole bunch of, I'm in a number of different gaming groups, and I've just talked about it, like, and there are several people that are just so hyped. I was like, sell me on it. Sell me this game. They're like, one, escapism. And that is perfect. We went over to my lead singer's, we're obviously going, we've been talking about it for several weeks now. There's stuff going on in the world. Yeah. I don't want to harp on it too much this week because we've been harping on it, and let's keep it a little bit more positive. But they said escapism. Mm-hmm. You play it for, the idea behind this game is not to sit and play it for hours on end. The idea behind this game is to play it for 30 minutes to maybe a couple hours max per day. It's supposed to just be like this regular kind of check-in thing that you do. Mm-hmm. Work on your world a little bit. Get the chill vibes. They said you have to get over the fact that there is no end game. There is no way to beat this game. It's just a game where you kind of exist. And for some reason, just right now, that vibe hit me, and I was like, I could use something like that.
Yeah. Well, with everything going on in this world, I mean, yeah, maybe you need that. I will say, Whitney has been on that. Whitney and I've been on kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where we're like, we're gonna dive into the what's it called? you steer into the skid, whatever. So we've been watching pandemic movies. We watched what is it? Contagion. We watched Outbreak and a few other some zombie movies. She's in the other room, or was just a little while ago, playing a mobile game. It's kind of like Pandemic. I can't remember what it's called, but essentially she was like, I'm steering into the curb, but now she's a little stressed out. But I think that these kind of games will help you get through times like this, whatever that game may be, even if it is something that does get dark. To be able to escape is really important right now, and with what's going on in the world, like some escapism is going to help. Yeah,
so I'm ready to get in. The one thing that was an easy sell for me was like, they were like, you can play it for 30 minutes and you should put it down, or play it for an hour and then put it down. It's not something that you're just going to sink hours and hours on into. And I can see that, right, especially right now, and the fact that like they've kind of started saying like this kind of stuff might be lasting for weeks into months.
It's going to like,
imagine I put my kid down, me and my wife hang out for a little while, and then for that like I like to chill a little bit before bed.
Sure.
For like a good hour after he goes to bed, and and so I can imagine picking that up and like, okay, I'm gonna play this for a little bit, just get lost in some. We'll see if it clicks. I will happily report on it next podcast.
I did hear people saying, yeah, you'll have to tell me more about it in regards to. I did hear it doesn't punish you for going away for too long.
Right.
It will say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, but it's not like it's a game you can put down for a week and come back to it. But at the same time, you can kind of get things going while you're not playing. Like the game clock, I think, still moves. But let me know if that is the case.
From what I've heard, like it's similar to what you're saying. Like there's things I think in other Animal Crossings where like maybe you'd see some stuff that you got to clean up. Like I remember somebody mentioning like some like cobwebs and stuff would appear, and things where you haven't like cleaned in a while, or something indicating that you haven't been there. And I think they've said that this particular one is less focusing on that. I'm not really sure. So again, I'm going in with a completely fresh perspective. The only thing I know about Animal Crossing is bells, which is the currency, and Tom Nook, which is apparently I'm going to like go into debt to Tom Nook because he owns everything. Is all I know.
I've heard that. And other people like making jokes about like how you go into debt, or how quickly you could pay off debt for a house. But either way, you're going to go into debt. Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week, but I'm excited for right now. I have it preloaded. Shout outs to Nintendo preloads, where it's like, it's not just a couple days before. You could have pre-ordered this game a couple of weeks ago and it would have been preloaded a couple weeks ago. It's awesome. There's no... The like PlayStation, whenever you pre-order stuff, it's still pretty good about it, but it's still only like 48 to 72 hours that it's going to preload the game. But Nintendo, they pushed that thing out.
That's good stuff. Let's talk about since we were talking about some rough news. Let's get that over with first. I think that'd be good. In movie news, it's basically all movie news in regards to bad stuff. We didn't talk about this last week, but Black Widow is being delayed. Which I think is a good move for them, because people aren't going to be in theaters. Even more so, Mulan, which was supposed to come out the 9th. They pushed to the 29th of March. It's now delayed. Both of these do not have a release date, so they're just delayed until they decide to release them. But at the same time, I think that's better than, say, trying to put a release date of like, say, sometime in May, and then this not being done, and then having to delay over delay and delay. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. I think it's a good move to do because the theaters are mostly closed at this point.
Well, before, what was happening was we were closing because the second biggest movie market in the world is China, and all of their theaters were closed. Now, it's actually being reported that China's stuff is starting to open back up. They're starting they've plateaued, and they're on the downside of everything that's going on. But while that's happening, the United States, which is the #1 movie market, is now on the uptick, and we don't know where we're going to plateau at. It's really hard to tell with us because we reacted so weirdly. And at first, movie theaters were saying, like AMC, for example, was like, okay, we're going to operate at 50% capacity, and we're going to do that social distancing. And then just a couple days ago, they announced that they were going to close, and that was amid several states are just saying everything that is like non-essential, yeah, is closing. Texas hasn't. I don't know what Florida's doing, but Texas hasn't hit that far. But a lot of cities are kind of just doing stuff on their own.
Yeah, so we haven't hit that yet. Florida did close all bars. There are provisions in regards to like restaurants that serve alcohol can't be open past 9. We haven't gone to curbside yet. I think that's the next bit.
Curbside.
Yeah, beaches are still open until Monday. So
spring
people
break.
Yeah, so the spring breakers are going nuts. Like,
did you see that spring break video?
Dude, that's right down the street. That's in Clearwater. That's right down the street from my house. So they're between Clearwater, Fort Lauderdale, like spring break and Clearwater is insane. Clearwater Beach, that is. It's like probably 7 or 8 minutes from my house. And those are the people like filling up the beaches and getting all the old people sick. So I know they were saying we don't want to close it because of spring break, but I don't know. People were putting up memes of the mayor from Jaws, where he's like, I'm not going to close the beaches. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I saw again, I don't want to harp on it. I saw a video where like there was a bunch of college kids, and they're like, "Dude, we just want a spring break, man. Like it's been really tough." And it was like, if anything happens, it happens. I was like, okay, guys.
Yeah, but anyways, like, oh, if I get it, I get it. It's not that big of a deal. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, if I get it, I'm gonna be okay. I don't want to give it to someone else.
I hope I'm going to be okay. It's not even for sure.
Well, yeah, there's a 34-year-old who died of it. There's a lot of young people who are dying in Italy of it. I'm just saying, like, I have better chance than, like, say, the elderly or children. So it's not as much for me, it's for other people. So I've been isolating for that, which is why I'm excited about Universal streaming movies. I just realized how dark this one is, but Invisible Man's going to be streaming. We're going to watch that tomorrow. Trolls World Tour is going to be streaming. I don't know.
How much are they charging for these?
$20.
Not bad.
So $20, which is less than 2 movie tickets.
Not bad at all.
$20, man. You think of like a house with like 3 or 4 kids. You can stream Trolls and get to watch a new movie with your kids without paying $80 or something like that. Trying to bring the whole family to the theater. Totally worth it for $20. I saw some people complaining online. I'm like, these are brand new movies, and you get to watch it from the comfort of your home. If Whitney and I go out, if we don't usually buy concessions, maybe water, but if we both buy movie tickets, it's like $24. So unless we go to like, special discounted, theaters or discounted times. So yeah, I'm all about this.
Yeah. I don't think Rob's in the chat tonight. And I do apologize because I just brought up chat. There were some other people that were already here. So, hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey,
hope you guys are having a great night.
Yeah.
Rob was saying, like, earlier this week that the first people that are, like, go to market with this, like, they are already ahead of the game. And so the fact that it was Universal and not Disney, which surprised the heck out of me. I don't know what Disney has out right now that they could stream like this, but this is awesome.
Mulan could have streamed. Mulan could go stream
there you go.
At the end of the month or beginning of April.
Black Widow, which Disney also owns.
Black Widow, that's May. Was supposed to come out in May.
Charge me $30 and I'll still pay it.
Yeah, and I will say that there was something Spielberg was talking about like quite a while ago, saying like movie theaters are always going to be a thing, but if they do become a thing in the past, he envisioned like a tiered pricing structure where an indie film maybe $10-15 for a new indie film, and then you got like $20 or $25 for like your higher budget, your AAAs, if you will. I could totally see a Disney movie costing $30. Again, that's almost on par with me going to the theater, and then I don't have to deal with other people, so not bad.
Yeah, before my son went to bed, we actually had this thing where there was there's a brewery here, and I'm actually drinking their beer right now, and they're doing curbside pickup. And normally they have trivia nights and stuff, and so they're actually doing their trivia night on Facebook Live just for fun.
Cool.
And so like, the reason why I'm relating it to this was Cassie was like, could we just do this? Like, could you guys just do digital trivia all the time? We'll just sit back on our couch here. Like, we'll still go buy your beer. We'll still go sit here. And then we don't have to deal with the crowd. And, like, Ted can go to sleep when he goes to sleep. Like, imagine that as far as, like, a brand new movie. Because since we've had our son, we've only gone to see one movie. We went to see Star Wars. We got babysitters for it. Because I'm not going to subject people to a baby. I know that some people are willing to do that. I'm not criticizing, but at the same time, I don't want to do it because I don't want to pay $20 plus beer and maybe some popcorn and stuff because I only go to theaters with beer now. What were we doing when we were before we were 21, right? I don't want to miss it, so I don't want my son to start crying. Sure. Not for any. I don't care about the rest of you people in the movie theater. Good for you guys, but I don't want to miss the movie because I have to go comfort my son.
Sure. I was going to say, like, if you did care about other people, shout out to Alamo Drafthouse for doing like specifically movies for people with kids, not just kid movies, but being able to bring your baby to a movie and all the people in the theater are understanding that, you know, they have their own kids with them usually. Shout out to them for doing that because, like, they do that on, like, Tuesdays, I think. But that's really cool for stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads who are like, I want to get out and watch a movie. This is how I'm going to do it. So, on a similar note, Netflix rolled out some Netflix Party, which watching this, I'm assuming that watching this syncs up with whoever is joining there. I haven't tested it out, honestly, but I'm assuming Netflix Party, you join in and you can see at the same time as other people are watching it, right?
So the way that I read about it is this is a Chrome extension, by the way, so this isn't something that you do through your Netflix thing, so you'd be doing it on, like, your computer or something. It might extend to something else, but for right now it's a Chrome extension, so you go through your Google Chrome, you have a host, so I would host the party, and then I give you a code, and I'm the one that cues what we're going to watch. Okay. And then everybody is then watching it in sync with my code. And so the host is the one that picks the movie and runs it. That's cool. As far as I know, everybody does need to be logged into Netflix, but
yeah, that's fine. I mean,
it's still
the majority of people have Netflix, so.
What do you mean? Everybody has it. You know, I haven't looked at their subscriber numbers recently, but I'm pretty sure it's at least in the double-digit millions.
It's double-digit millions, yeah. I mean, I think it's cool to be able to do this. You said it's a Chrome extension. I'm wondering if it works with my Chromecast in that case, because I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking, like, if I was watching it alone at home,
167 million.
Jeez, okay. I was gonna guess in the higher, but yeah. I was going to say, like, if you're a single individual or living alone or whatever, like, being able to do this is really cool. Like, I just don't watch movies on my laptop, or on a PC, so I would want to put it on my PC, which I guess I could stream to my Chromecast at that point. But I think it's really cool to be able to share this kind of stuff with other people, especially if you're, like, watching a TV series. Like, that's where I think it'd be really cool, is if a new TV series comes out and you, like, get with your friends and say, hey, do you want to watch an episode every night or something? That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I even saw, like, right before this Chrome extension got announced, I saw, and this is anecdotal, but a friend of mine on Facebook was like, hey, I've been at home for 4 days. Anybody doing anything tonight? You guys want to watch some Mystery Science Theater? We can, like, go into, like, a Google Hangout or a Skype chat and, like, just queue it up at the same time and I'll hang out. Like, does that sound fun? And, like, a few people took them up on it. And so I can totally see that just as a thing. Like, I'm not saying we're not the most social people in the world. We're kind of like we're kind of like introverts that have, like, extrovert spurts.
Sure.
And so I can see it being a thing of, like, hey, if, like, especially depending on how long this goes, like, hey, I haven't seen you guys in like a month. You guys want to like watch something tonight? Like, what are you guys doing?
I could totally see doing that. John and I were talking about doing some D&D because we've both talked about it anyways, but we're like, now is the time to do some D&D online. I've got a D&D group here. They're wanting to meet up this weekend. I'm not going. Like, just don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I especially now that we went from under 50 to under 10.
Yeah.
Is now the recommendation. And like not everything that we do. For a little while we were trying out a thing where we would hang out with like a couple or like another couple and like try and kind of spread it out and make it smaller, because we've noticed that when we hang out with a big group, we don't necessarily talk to everybody. And so we were trying that, but now it's kind of,
yeah, it's
awkward.
Yeah, I'm in a similar situation. I was telling John earlier today on Apollo, like he was talking about going stir crazy. He was reading off the I Am Legend, like the thing that he broadcasts out in I Am Legend, like about saying he has food and can provide security. I'm like, this is like my normal week, because I just sit at home. I have the dogs and I see Whitney in the evening. And if I don't force myself to go out, I'll stay home all week and then do something on the weekend. This is going to be the first weekend that I don't get to go do something. And I have no go out kind of, I'm probably going to get in the car with Whitney and just drive, like just take a spin around because I'm already, like, it's Thursday. I'm already cooped up.
I work here, and so like I go pick up my son every day from daycare, and that's like if I don't do anything else, that's your
thing. Yeah.
I stop at QT, which is Quick Trip for those who don't know. It's a gas station. I stop at QT. I get myself a fountain drink, maybe a little snack. I do that for like 5 minutes, eat in the car for a second, and then I go pick up my son. That's like my daily ritual during the weekdays, and then.
But it's your time. It's your time to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the house, because I work here. Sure. I work here full time. I've been working at home since 2012. So that it's already, like, for those of you who are just now new to this, go outside. Make sure you go do something. Get away from your desk for a little bit.
Yeah. You know what we should do? Not today, but you and I next week. We should record a tips for people who've never worked from home.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because I've been working from home for over 2 years. You've been working from home much longer. And I think you and I have some advice we can give people. So I think that'd be cool.
It'd be cool. A little supplemental, little LANCave, like get out of the cave.
Because sometimes you have to get out of the cave. But
I did want to throw one more streaming thing out there. I added it very late, so you probably didn't see it. But start looking for all these free services that are out there, because lots of people are offering trials. But just since we're on the watching thing, Sling TV, who does have like a subscription service, they just yesterday rolled out a thing called Stay In and Sling, and they're no credit card required, so you don't have to sign up with a credit card or anything like you do Sling TV, but there's lots of TV shows and lots of movies. And so if you've been like thinking about like, I'm going to get that Disney Plus, even though I don't have that $8 right now, or I'm going to do this is completely free. And they're just putting that out there. So I would start looking for more people to do something like that.
I'm waiting.
Just support people is what they're all trying to do.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I'm waiting for those trials to happen. Like I didn't see the Sling one. I'm waiting for those to pop out for companies that are large enough to. I mean, Sling's pretty big, but companies like Netflix with that many subscribers, Netflix can say, you know what, we're going to be giving everybody a month.
I'm hoping PlayStation throws out 4 games next month. I want instead of their 2 that they've been doing, give us 4 PlayStation 4 games. Make at least one of them a first party game. We already own Horizon, obviously, but since you're putting it on PC, why don't you go ahead and throw Horizon out there for free and just give us 4 games for those 90 million subs that they have to PlayStation Plus. We're already giving you money, so just hook us up.
Yeah. I think we're going to see more of that. We're going to see a lot of companies right now are like pushing out to try to get people into retail stores, which obviously is stupid because then they're going to close up. But they were trying to do it to try to supplement in the meantime. But I'm curious when it comes to retail how the console race is going to go, because with everything going on, what's that?
Ugly is how it's going to go.
It's going to go very ugly. Everyone's going to pre-order online. Everyone's going to get it shipped to them, or you pick up at a store. I don't know how to. I've never had one shipped to my house. I know it's probably not that much different than obviously them shipping it to a store, but somehow I feel more comforting if I go to a store and then pick it up, like almost like they vetted it for me.
So I did buy my laptop through Amazon, but I've never bought a console, and that's only because there's this feeling. It's not a safety thing for me. It's this feeling of like I get to go and I'll be like, I want that one. I want that guy right there. Hook that up, please. Like that's how I got my I got my Switch that way. I got my PS4 Pro that way. I got my PS4 that way. Like I would like that guy right there, please. I get to hold my box and be all happy about it for a second. I go to my car, I take my little picture, and I'm like, hey guys, got my PS4. I put the seat belts around it to keep it extra safe. Like there's just a ritual about it.
Yeah.
That may not get. I don't even know if PS5 is going to come out this year.
That's what I'm worried about. There was a rumor 2 or 3 weeks ago that both the Xbox and the PS5 were going to be delayed due to COVID-19. PlayStation's been really quiet about their news. This week was the first time we got some more concrete news. We got specs. Xbox put out their specs. I feel like that forced Sony's hand after Xbox did their thing. Let's talk in regards to the Xbox specs. And you and I could go like line by line on specs. Let's just say it. I think the Xbox on paper looks more powerful, but but at the same time, there are certain things that I think the PlayStation has an advantage on. By the way, this is the Xbox load time of Xbox One X versus Xbox Series X. Still waiting. The load time wasn't as fast as I would imagine at the beginning of this video. I'm going to stop it real quick because they're showing them loading it up, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and I'm like, oh, is the video stuck? Is the video stuck? Oh no, now it loads. So obviously it still took a while to load the game and everything, but that still did surprise me. Xbox is crazy powerful. I would say CPU and GPU for the Xbox and PlayStation are very similar. So I was happy about that. Memory's almost the same if you look at those specs. It's almost the same internal, but the GPU CPU is more powerful on the Xbox. What did you think about the internal storage on these two? I think they're both anemic.
They're both so light. Like I got two props for not two props. I got a prop for PlayStation in this regard. But dude, these games I've got Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out on April 10th. Please God, Square, just release it early. But especially now that you've announced shipping delays through all the people, you should just give me the game. Anyways, that is a 100 gig minimum. We're not even counting day one patches. Yep. It's a 100 gig minimum download.
Plus, what's your OS? What's your OS going to be on that 1 terabyte hard drive?
Right. And let's call it 20. Let's be nice. Let's be nice and say that they have it pretty small down and call it 20. But 100. So you're telling me I have 1/10 of an Xbox hard drive. I have even less. 10 over 82. I'm not gonna do that math right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 1/5 for one large game. It's 1/5 of your storage. Yeah. So both Xbox and PlayStation both said we have expandable storage. With PlayStation, you have an external solid state drive you could put in. Xbox has expansion cards.
Yeah, I thought this was the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
Did you guys not learn anything from the Vita? Not that the Xbox is a Vita. The Vita's a handheld. I get it. But you see where Sony said, no, we're not going to do that. We have an expansion slot. It's for NVMe though, which is a highly. But what they have said is that if you want to take advantage of, we can go into that a little bit more hard if you want. Before we go too far, I will say, PlayStation's hard drive is faster. It's unbelievably fast. It's new. It's revolutionary. It's something that's even faster than PCs. That's where Master Race it can shout a lot of things, and they'll even have GPU and CPU specs that are far superior to the PS5. But that hard drive has never been done before. That's a big deal. But it's small. It's 825, and the NVMe's that exist right now they're not fast enough to go with it. So don't buy an SSD in preparation. Don't be like, oh, it's one on sale. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I will say, I'm playing a little bit of Mark here, but quick side note, I thought the silhouettes was stupid.
I laughed.
I saw that, and I thought they were going to go away. Like, I thought, like, oh, this is like a temporary joke. Like, they should have just kept in with the close-up shot. Where is it? Like here? They should have just done that. It would have been fine. I will say, first of all, by the way, on brand with his laptop there. Obviously on brand with Sony. Yeah, but seriously, like the not only the hard drive, but did you see the throughput? The I/O throughput on this. So we're talking about, okay, how powerful is your CPU? How powerful is your GPU? That's cool. Okay, but what are you putting that through in regards to like the pipe that gets it out to your HDMI, that gets it out to your audio video? Holy crap. And this is going to, in regards to uncompressed video, uncompressed audio, all that ray tracing, all that wonderful stuff that we want to see, that subtlety, is going to be more crystal out of the PlayStation. I was really impressed with this, but both of them, honestly, look amazing. I'm not gonna dog either one. They both have their ups and downs, but I'm now that I saw this, I'm really leaning towards PlayStation. Not that I wasn't biased already.
I mean, I was already gonna buy PlayStation day and date. The stuff that's impressive with the Series X, again, they have a superior graphics card. They have the superior CPU. It's not much more. It's still more though, and that's worth noting. They have a slightly bigger hard drive. That's worth noting. They have
a fridge too. Can we get this fridge?
I put this on there. It cracked me up. Is that they put this fridge for scale?
I love it
so hard. I like the humor. I like the fact that they put this out. I like that Microsoft put this out in a text format instead of this GDC video. And this is what I had to criticize about this: is that Mark Cerny is a genius.
Yes.
He's smarter than both me and Patrick probably combined. And me and Patrick are pretty smart guys. He's a genius. He speaks incredibly well. I think that he explained things in a way that even a layman could understand, and he did that impressively. That said, this was clearly a GDC conference that was not adapted. Like, how could you not adapt this keynote? Like, you guys are just putting this out on a YouTube thing. I get that they're like PlayStation 5 deep dive, but you didn't even show us the console. Like, where's my picture?
That was
like, just show me what this box looks like. Are we getting the V thing? Like, what is going? Like, you couldn't even show us that. You couldn't put. I get why they're not saying when it's coming out, because I think they're going to have to delay it. They originally said it holiday 2020 before, but I seriously don't think that's going to happen anymore.
I really hope not. By the way, I'm about to load up. I'm like kind of on the fly here. I figured we'd just throw some specs on there. Like I said, we could go line by line on them. I don't want to bore people with that, because there are people who do this better, who know more about it than we do. But I'll just throw it on there if you guys do want to get a line by line as we're talking about this. You and I are both going to buy PlayStation day one. I'm probably going to end up getting the Xbox Series X. One of the things that isn't listed on here, I just put it up there for people to look through, as we have previously been talking about specs. They did talk about backwards compatibility a little bit in regards to PlayStation. I don't know if you saw that. That part was kind of disappointing to me.
The top 100 games.
Yeah, so that's its start. They'll have more later, but at the same time, Xbox has people were the rumor was, and people were hoping, that the new PlayStation 5 was going to be backwards compatible to PlayStation 3 and so on. I think that while that was a pipe dream, I thought it was a really good idea. It would catch them up to what Xbox has been doing, because Xbox has been slowly, for the past, 8 years, have been backwards compatible, like been porting over these games to have OG Xbox and 360 games on the Xbox One. Not all of them, but a lot of great ones.
That's what I was going to say. In a non-critical way, the PlayStation 4 has not really had a lot of backwards compatibility. They put some PS2 games on there, and then they've done some stuff through PS Now with PS3, because PS3 is already so hard. But if anybody remembers, when Xbox One launched this backwards compatibility thing, I want to say the list was under 100 games, and it's just been slowly growing.
Yeah.
And so, yes, Sony's behind in this matter. They especially from what I know about the software architecture, is that they are using the same software architecture as PS4. It really should, this is without me knowing how any of this works. It should not be that hard. If it's following a similar thing, if it's literally just like we're upgrading the hardware and we're kind of sticking with the same, what's the system? Architecture is what I'm thinking of.
Architecture is similar, yeah.
They should have been ahead of this. This should be a thing. But in a non-critical way, like, Xbox has a generation leap on that, and they've already been working on it, and so they're carrying that over. Sony didn't care because they were too busy making this gen's games, and I don't say that
making lots of money.
I don't say that to dog Xbox. Like, Xbox had to do, the reason that Xbox had to do this was because they were behind, and they were like the same reason that they had to be innovative with Game Pass. This isn't to be critical. Game Pass is awesome. This isn't to be critical. Xbox's backwards compatibility is awesome, but it only came out because they were losing. PlayStation didn't have to do that because they weren't losing. They were making current games, which is part of the reason that they won. But I'm not going to dog them too much, because somebody like me, I don't play. I'm carrying over my library. I have my library. I'm going to keep it. I'm excited for, as my son gets a little older and he starts playing games, I have tons of stuff that he can play already. I'm going to keep my PS4 Pro specifically, that not for that reason, but it's going to help when I want him to play stuff. But I'm carrying over my library, but I don't go back and play games that I haven't played. The only reason I care about carrying over my library is there's a ton of stuff that I haven't played.
Yeah. I
can't criticize too much.
I go back every now and then, and but I'll say this was Sony, right? With Xbox doing all that, Sony was just crying over their money when it came to Xbox, making backwards compatible games. I don't think PlayStation realized how big of a deal it could be, but I think the recent sales of Resident Evil, the fact that Final Fantasy is going to make ridiculous amounts of money, and the money that they've made off the digital store in regards to those the games that aren't backwards compatible, but you can buy them digitally, I think that it may open Sony up to say, okay, well, PS3 games, maybe we can make them playable on PlayStation 5. So if you have the digital purchase, we can bring it over. Because I'll buy a bunch of PlayStation 3 games digitally if I can play them on my PS5. Because I don't want to boot up my PS5.
Right
PS3.
now.
Yeah.
Every time those sales pop up, I get a little sad. Like the things where I only use the web browser now to shop PSN, because PSN on the console is so trash.
Yeah, it is.
So every time there's a sale on the left side, you get to be like, do you want to look at PS4, PS3, and Vita? And I just check off PS4 because I don't want to look at the rest of these PS classics that I can't play. I don't want to look at the Resistance trilogy that I can't play. Yeah. Like, there's so much stuff that I would love to buy.
Same here, and I've got my PS3. I could boot it up. Do you still have your PS3?
I never had one.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
I was in whenever I was in college, I had the 360, and that was all that I had money for.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so I've got my PS3. I've got it in the closet with my Wii U. The two of them are next to each other, and they're there just in case I want to boot one of them up. Hasn't happened, but I've thought about it. Last time I played my PS3, I went through Demon's Souls, and that was back in Texas. So yeah,
I would just want to play classics. Like that's the only reason that I've ever been super jealous of like the PS3 and the Vita is the fact that they had access to PS1 classics and we don't. Most of the stuff that I've wanted on PS3 has been ported, except for the Resistance trilogy. Insomniac, you're in the fold now. Let's do it, yo. Blue Point, yo, we need to hire you right now. I'm pretty sure they're already working on it. If you haven't noticed, Insomniac has not stopped. Like in recent past on social media, they haven't stopped talking about Resistance. So I'm pretty sure that trilogy is coming at some point.
I really, really hope so. That's a trilogy that not enough people played. I to play the Resistance 1, and I played some of Resistance 2. I think I told you this already. I bought a third-party controller that had heftier sticks than the PS3 controller, like little toys that felt more like an Xbox 360 controller, just to play Resistance, because I could play other games, but shooters just sucked on PS3 controllers. Xbox had a better controller for that.
It's just that PS3 controller felt like
it was a toy.
It was a toy. Yeah, I didn't want to be mean. It was a toy. Like the thing was so light, I felt like I was gonna break it every time I held it. And I didn't own one, so I only played one whenever I was at like a friend's. But I went from being PS2 to 360, and then I went to PS4 after just after The Last of Us, and they announced Final Fantasy 14 on there, which is what I wanted.
Yeah, and there's so many good games. Like I will say that I really, if PS5 is not going to have the backwards compatibility that we thought it was going to have, there's a chance I may buy some games that are that are PS1 classics and and those games to play on my PS3, just so I have access to them, because it's easier to do that than it is for me to to go track down the actual discs. As much as I'd like to collect, like Chris's collection's amazing and everything, I just know if I start, I'm going to go overboard. That's how I feel.
I don't. Not to go back onto the negative side, but based on stuff like what's happened this week, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I didn't put that in the news thing that happened, but Final Fantasy VII Remake, if you ordered physical through a retailer, there's a good chance that you're probably not going to get it as soon as you think you are. If you ordered it through Square, there's still a chance, because I think Square uses the USPS. Mm-hmm. There's still an issue of, do they have to import it and export it from wherever it was made, and then importing it to America? Animal Crossing as well. I know a lot of people bought that, pre-ordered that physically, and then they got an announcement from Nintendo saying, hey, probably delayed. And a bunch of people immediately canceled their pre-order and went digital. Ever since these games started getting so big, there's games that I want physical. I'm still getting my physical Final Fantasy VII. That's just, I'm dumb. I shouldn't have bought it twice, but I did. Last of Us 2, I still have a physical pre-order, but that I might end up canceling and getting digital, because I'm not going to wait to play that game. But also, just in general, I'm all digital, except for PS4 exclusives, Zelda, or not PS4 exclusive, PS4 first party and Zelda games. I am almost virtually all digital at this point. These things are huge. I pre-order a lot of games because I want to play them the day they come out. And like Red Dead 2, when that was a 100 gig download, I had that thing preloaded so I could play it immediately. I'm not waiting on that stuff anymore, man. So if PS5, if we're going to have this puny little 825 gigabyte hard drive, I'm going to preload, I'm going to play it, I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to move on. I don't need to own a physical game anymore.
And I will say, like, you and I, like, we have a different thought process when it comes to digital physical games in regards to, not digital versus physical, but digital games that we keep on our PlayStations, because I have quite a few games that I have on there to say, you know what? I may go and play that game. I may play a little bit of Dark Souls. I may play a little bit of I have Jackbox is always loaded on there, just in case. I have I have Metal Gear. I have Dark Souls. I have a few others, and then I have whatever game Whitney's playing, or a few games that are ready for her. So my console is usually like 75% full of a 2 terabyte hard drive. So when I saw a 1 terabyte hard drive, I'm like, that's not gonna do. I'm gonna have to immediately upgrade that thing.
This is where I think that I didn't harp on that. I think that Xbox made a huge mistake. I think that doing a proprietary drive is not a good idea. I think, especially depending on how much it costs. So it's going to be the proprietary one for Xbox is a 1 terabyte memory card essentially that plugs into the slot. And what's a 1 terabyte SSD going for right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Check. And and this isn't custom or anything, so this is just go to Amazon.
Yeah, so
1 terabyte SSD.
1 terabyte, so a little over 100, maybe right at 100, depending on what kind of model you're getting. That was the Samsung EVO terabyte hard drive. Yeah.
So let's call it $150. Let's say that Xbox can sell you that 1 terabyte for $150. I don't even know if they could sell it that cheap, but let's say they can. $150 on top of what I'm right now, based on all this specs, I don't see how they could sell it for under $500. I'm gonna say $600, just because I don't know. But let's say that. So you want me to pay $750? Like, why don't I just buy a PC? That's upsetting to me. Like, I mean, that might have happened anyway if you tried to put a 2 terabyte hard drive in there, but you're still making me do that extra legwork. You're still making me do that memory management. PS5 supposedly is gonna make games have the ability to be smaller, but from what I was reading from a bunch of people, game companies, at least the big ones, the AAA ones, are probably not going to take advantage of that. They're probably going to take advantage of the fact that they can make their game that much prettier and sound better. And so instead of making their game smaller, they're going to make it better looking and better sounding and take up as much space as they were going to begin with. And so I'm still looking at most 10 AAA games on my PS5, at most. And that's no room for anything small. It's bad.
Yeah, it is really bad. Speaking of bad, I just, since we were talking about pre-orders and everything, I just happened to pop on Square's website, because I was like, we were talking about pre-orders of the games, like, are we gonna, like, if I'm getting it straight from Square, what's gonna happen on that? So I click on my account and I click on orders, and it says you don't have any. So I really hope that there's just a problem here, because it says my purchase history has nothing, but I'm like,
Did they charge you?
I got an email. I haven't seen the charge yet, but I got an email asking about verification, and it said it had already been verified. So unless
you're gonna need to open up a support ticket, bruh.
Yeah, so I've got an email. Hold on, I do have an email saying, "Please do announce the product is available." Okay. Well, this was March 18th, by the way. So I'm glad that it's available, but I already bought it. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're going to need to talk to their support. This is just where, as much as I want to own a lot of stuff, Final Fantasy VII and The Last of Us are the last two physical pre-orders I have open right now. I still haven't pre-ordered Ghost of Tsushima, but there's a chance that PS5 goes all digital, where the only thing that and then Nintendo still goes, the only thing that I want to buy, I want Zelda games physically for no reason whatsoever. I just like having my Zelda games. But I didn't even buy Link's Awakening remastered physically. I bought that digitally because I was like, I've already beat this game once. So I might be going all digital, but they still need to figure out this space issue. I'm going to be spending extra money on a hard drive. I don't know how big, like, at least with PlayStation as opposed to Xbox, and I think that this is a thing where they learned from their mistakes, is that they're going to allow the NVMe SSDs in the slot. So
yeah.
I'm hoping, one, that somebody comes out with one fast enough. It's probably going to be expensive, but if I could buy another, I don't know, if I could buy like a 2 terabyte drive, I'm investing way too much. Because again, why don't I just buy a PC? But I've been very stubborn about my PS4 Pro. I have a 1 terabyte in my PS4 Pro. I manage the heck out of it. If I'm done with something, I have to float over that delete button. I'm like, am I going to play this anytime in the next 6 months where I will be mad if I have to re-download this game? That's the question I have to ask myself on every single thing that I delete. And I know there's people that don't like deleting anything, especially digitally, because they're like, what if the store shuts down tomorrow? I don't believe that's going to happen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. You do have situations. We could talk anecdotally about things that we wish we had not deleted. I've got my example of PT, but
Sure.
But for the most part, you're going to still have those. You're still going to have the big stuff. I'm curious. PS5 coming out. Do you think the PS3 digital stuff is going to fall off their server?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
I think PSN is established enough at this point that they have no reason to shut it down. Same thing with the Vita store. That's where I've heard a lot more people concerned about Vita store shutting down. I still think, and I'm looking at picking one up if I can find a good enough deal on one. If I can find a Vita for $100, I'll probably buy one.
It's a solid console. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they have no reason to shut it down. I think that there's a big enough market out there to buy their games. There's even people who still hack the Vita, and as long as you can still buy stuff. I've seen people who have made a hacked version of the memory card where you have to do some finagling on your PC, but you have the memory card, and then you can stick an SD that supports up to 256 in it for the Vita. That's something that I'm looking at doing if I find a Vita cheap enough. I don't think they have any reason. I don't know why Nintendo did that with the Wii.
I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah, I really don't know. Still rocking my Switch, though, by the way, in regards to like Nintendo. And
Sure.
I will say I'm probably not going to play as much of my Switch when Final Fantasy comes out. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, let us know.
Unless I get you an Animal Crossing.
Yeah, let's get an Animal Crossing. Yeah, let us know what you think about this. Yeah, let us know what you think about the new console specs. Do you think PlayStation or Xbox is going to win out on this in this war, or which one do you think is a better console just in the hardware? No fanboying, just hardware. What do you think? We'll see you later.
Okay, bye.